I am Roger Mike, class of 1970, and I'm very proud to be currently the president of the Rensselaer Alumni Association. And my first official duty is to welcome you to Reunion and Homecoming 2013. We're so glad all of you are here, and I know more will be coming later today and tomorrow. This will be, by definition, it's always a wonderful weekend. Thank you for being here. Whether you've had the opportunity to return often or you've not been back for decades, we hope you enjoy every minute of the weekend and marvel at the changes to campus since your last visit. With more than 200 separate events taking place, you certainly have a vast menu from which to choose. Many of you were able today and yesterday to participate in Back to Class and observe our faculty and students in action. Athletics is being showcased beautifully this weekend with many events, games, and matches taking place, several involving alums. This year, a record 27 of 34 Greek fraternities and sororities will be hosting reunion programs and open houses for their alumni and alumnae. And of course, we celebrate in a special way those classes ending in 3s and 8s and the reunion milestones they have achieved. We offer very special congratulations to the great class of 1963 celebrating its 50th reunion. When the Rensselaer School, as it was originally known, was established by Stephen Van Rensselaer and Amos Eaton in 1824, it had the immediate distinction of being the first school of technology in the English-speaking world. And that was just the beginning. It is impossible to calculate the societal impact that Rensselaer grads have had upon the entire world during the past 189 years. Our rich heritage is something of which we can all be proud. In our own time, over the past 14 years since Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson first came to us, there have been remarkable and positive changes to the RPI landscape in moving forward. Today, we can all be proud that our alma mater is recognized around the globe as a world-class technological research university. President Jackson, we thank you for your visionary leadership and boundless devotion, both of which have directed the positive changes to the campus we love. The Rensselaer Alumni Association, first established in 1869, is one of the oldest in the nation. With nearly 100,000 alums around the world, networks of our alums can be found throughout the USA and from Paris to Beijing. The primary focus of the RAA board over the next 2 years will be in the scope of career and professional development for our alums, regardless of their location. You will hear more about this effort, including later this afternoon for those who are able to attend a networking program we have scheduled. We are putting all our energy into connecting Rensselaer alums for the benefit of all involved. We would love to have you join us in any capacity you wish. And with that said, I thank you again for traveling to campus to participate in Reunion and Homecoming, and please enjoy the weekend.
Please welcome the president of Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson.
Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon. And welcome back to all of our alumni and alumnae. And I offer congratulations especially to the class of 1963, which is the newest class to enter the Rensselaer 50-Year Club. The men and women of this class are celebrating a half-century of intellectual excitement with each other, enduring friendships, possibly a minuscule amount of remembered rivalry, and a deep connection to the Rensselaer years that shaped them. I had the great pleasure this spring of attending my reunion at MIT, I won't tell you which one, and experiencing that pleasantly strange sense that one sometimes has with old friends of being two people at once. The young person you were when you first met, and the fuller, more dimensional character you are after many decades of life and experience. I'm sure that for many of you, the sense of a young self standing beside the more mature person you are today is compounded by the Rensselaer campus itself. You remember it as it was, but undoubtedly recognize the magnificent additions that have been made over the years, and especially over the last 14 years under the Rensselaer Plan, including the Curtis R. Preem Experimental Media and Performing Arts Center that surrounds us at this moment. Now, with your advice and support, we have maintained a similar duality in our thinking about the Institute as a whole. We are keenly appreciative of the strongest aspects of the Institute's younger personality, the rigor of the education, the innovative pedagogy, the magnanimous focus on the ways the Institute can benefit the world at large by applying science and engineering to the common purposes of life. If anything, these aspects of Rensselaer only have become stronger with time. Simultaneously, however, we are well aware that new challenges demand a new vision from us. I include among these the grand global challenges that surround issues that have become clear in recent years. Issues surrounding energy, water, and food security, human health, national security, global security, climate impacts, and the intelligent management of scarce natural resources. However, we face other challenges as well. These include the challenge of enabling the brilliant people here to work across the disciplinary boundaries that they, in fact, have helped to make obsolete. As the life sciences and engineering merge, as our built environment becomes increasingly intelligent and reactive, as computation, immersive environments, and cognitive science enrich our teaching and learning and our artistic expression, and as data and data analytics, web science, and network sensors on everything from running shoes to tractors transform healthcare and business management, as well as our experience of the world at large. We also have the challenge of funding Rensselaer's remarkable research endeavor and our teaching, our research which has led to critically important breakthroughs for society and business, particularly given federal budgetary concerns. And we have the challenge of educating the most cyber-savvy generation of students the world has known, while at the same time recognizing that these young people are not yet tempered by life and therefore need and deserve Rensselaer's support in every aspect of their personal development. Now, we have transformed Rensselaer over the last 14 years, and our achievements are many. More than $1.25 billion has been invested in the Rensselaer Plan. And along the way, we have built state-of-the-art research programs that include the Center for Biotechnology and Interdisciplinary Studies, and of course, our newly renamed Center for Computational Innovations, as well as EMPAC, where we sit and stand today. So we have prepared Rensselaer for leadership in areas of research that are of fundamental significance in the 21st century, and that build on our strengths by focusing on what we call our signature thrusts in computational science and engineering, in biotechnology and the life sciences, in nanotechnology and advanced materials, in energy, the environment, and smart systems, and in media arts, science, and technology. Now, to explore this last intersection of disciplines, in the fall of 2012, we announced the birth of a new institute-wide center, the Center for Cognition, Communication, and Culture, where research into cross-modal displays, mixed reality, and synthetic characters is giving us new ways to comprehend our world and ourselves, and new ways to teach and to do research. Over the past 14 years under the Rensselaer Plan, we have tripled research awards, competitively funded research awards. We have hired over 300 new faculty members, and we concluded a $1.4 billion capital campaign, concluded it successfully in 2008, 9 months ahead of schedule, exceeding all previous fundraising efforts at Rensselaer. But we're not done yet. Now, we've achieved certain things. Our ranking among national research universities by the different rating entities, by U.S. News and World Report, for example, indicates that our achievements are recognized. Last month, we were ranked 41st overall. And you might say, well, that's 41st. But there are 4,200 colleges and universities in the country, and about 300 to 400 that are considered the major ones. In the faculty resources category, in an area we've been paying a great deal of attention to, which uses various metrics to measure student interaction with distinguished professors and the resources our faculty have to work with and how we pay them, Rensselaer rose 10 places to 38th. Our selectivity rank in terms of our students was a record high. Indeed, and this is the important point, the clearest evidence of our achievements under the Rensselaer Plan rests with the enthusiasm with which young men and women now pursue a Rensselaer education. Applications to the freshman class have tripled over the last 14 years to a record 16,150 this year, which was up 6% over the year before. And we have enrolled the largest freshman class in Rensselaer history, 1,411 students. We expected 1,300. Now, we think these young people are sure not merely to uphold our legacy, but to enhance it. They are a very high achieving group, with their average verbal and critical reading scores setting a new record. Over 10% of the class received perfect 800 SAT scores in critical reading, mathematics, or writing. But if you, in fact, look at the range of achievements they have beyond the standard measures, you will see that this is a very special class indeed in terms of their artistic abilities, their interest in business, achievements they already have made in research, in public service. And this class also is a group that will bring some much-needed diversity to the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or STEM fields, with 31% of the class being women, 12% of the class being underrepresented minorities, and 1/3 from outside the northeastern United States. Now is the time for Rensselaer to step more fully onto a larger stage. Now, as reunions serve to remind us, when we are young, our own development constitutes much of the drama of life. You know, it's all about us, right? Now, this was, in some sense, true of our strategic approach in the early years of the Rensselaer Plan. It was all about us and what we were trying to do in transforming the Institute. However, as we grow more mature, it becomes apparent that the real meaning of life lies in the contributions we make to the world at large, to others. So Rensselaer itself is moving to a fuller, more commanding stage of its own history. Over the last year, with the advice of our alumni and alumnae, we have refreshed the Rensselaer Plan in advance of the bicentennial of the Institute, the 200th anniversary in 2024 of the founding of Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. Under the Rensselaer Plan 2024, as we call it, we still are transforming Rensselaer, but now we are becoming even more of a transformative force in the global impact of our research, in our pedagogy, that is how we teach our young people, and directly in the lives of our students. Now, let me begin with research, not because teaching is unimportant, but because it gives the intellectual grounding of the curriculum that we offer. We're focusing our efforts on institute-wide challenges that focus on the great global challenges I referenced earlier: energy, water, food, and national security, human health, climate impacts, and again, the allocation of scarce natural resources. 2 new research umbrellas have been identified, very broad umbrellas, in the Rensselaer Plan 2024 to address these challenges. The first we have called Beyond the Internet, Digital Meets Reality, recognizing that big data, broad data, high-performance computing, data analytics, and web science are creating a significant shift globally in the way we make connections, make decisions, make products, make discoveries, and ultimately make progress. This past June, we launched the Rensselaer Institute for Data Exploration and Applications, or simply the Rensselaer IDEA, to create an integrated computational ecosystem, but to use data in ways to undergird everything from basic scientific discovery to manufacturing. And the idea is to bring together Rensselaer talents and strengths in everything from supercomputing to immersive environments, and to link them to applications at the interface of engineering and the physical life, computational, and social sciences. The Rensselaer IDEA will make use of our remarkable computational infrastructure. In our renamed Center for Computational Innovations, we have one of the 4 most powerful university supercomputers in the United States, and number 12 in the world out of the top 500. A center whose capabilities has just been elevated very significantly. Since you're all techies like I am, 2 racks of the IBM Blue Gene Q supercomputer, which we installed earlier this year, have been raised up to 5 racks, bringing Rensselaer above the petaflops level for computational power. In other words, 10 to the 15th, or a quadrillion floating point operations per second. This new system has been named the Advanced Multi-Processing Optimized System. So what do you think the acronym is? AMOS, in honor of the intellectual father and founder of Rensselaer, Amos Eaton. This year, Rensselaer also became the first university in the nation to receive the Watson technology from IBM. As you can tell, IBM is a great partner. Watson is a cognitive computing system engineered for a human-like ability to use natural language, to answer complex questions, and to make decisions. And in fact, it is the work with others of IBM, at IBM, of a number of Rensselaer alumni, including Dr. Chris Welty of the class of 1985, Dr. David Ferrucci, formerly of IBM, of the class of 1994, and Adam Lally of the class of 1998. As you know, in 2011, using memory-based artificial intelligence, Watson was able to beat the best human champions at Jeopardy. Now, IBM chose Rensselaer as the place to send Watson, send it to school, to master a more difficult form of artificial intelligence, knowledge-based artificial intelligence. Because our intent, and we will do this, is to give Watson the power, not merely to answer questions based on the subjects it has been taught, but also to access the tetherless world of information on the World Wide Web and to make inferences from what it learns in real or near real time. Rensselaer also is rich in talent capable of making full use of this infrastructure. This year, Rensselaer scientists, led by the director of our new computational center and computer science professor Chris Carruthers, joined forces with colleagues at the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory and set a new supercomputer simulation speed record, decisively smashing the old record of 12 billion events per second with 504 billion events per second. Now, you can ask him about this. That's why we're showing you his picture, so you can waylay him when you see him. Now, such speed allows, for the first time, planetary scale calculations describing global phenomena, and that is the kind of thing we will focus on here as well. Professor Jim Hendler, who is the director of the Rensselaer idea, as you know, is one of the originators of the semantic web, which uses common data formats for unrelated web data sets and even unstructured data, allowing us a new ability to integrate different sources of information, to search across them using intelligent software agents, and in fact to visualize and then analyze them, and to build models around them. Professor Hendler and the balance of what we call the constellation in IT and web science, with Professor Deborah McGinnis and Professor Peter Fox. The team has helped the White House to develop smart interfaces for the data.gov website, which allows government data from an enormous variety of international sources to be combined in beneficial and unexpected ways. Now, we can't control what they do with it, but it actually makes it more accessible to others, even outside of government. Now, with the launch of the Rensselaer idea, researchers in all fields will be better able to access, aggregate, organize, visualize, and analyze data from multiple sources and in multiple formats in order to address challenges and opportunities across the spectrum, as I said, including in basic research, the environment and energy, water resources, healthcare and biomedicine, business and finance, public policy and national security, among many. We also are preparing Rensselaer students in every discipline to use these remarkable digital tools in order to maximize their opportunities to drive discovery and innovation. Since data will be the foundation of many a career in the future, we now are offering a new Master of Science degree in business analytics through the Lally School of Management and Technology. One of our first initiatives under the Rensselaer idea as well is the Jefferson Project at Lake George, named for Thomas Jefferson, who greatly admired the beauty of the lake. And this is, again, a data-driven partnership with IBM and the Fund for Lake George to turn Lake George into the smartest lake in the world, because we are adding a remarkable cyber-physical platform to the lake that will allow real-time data collection and monitoring through the use of fixed sensors mounted on robots, and innovations such as flow cams that can take snapshots of the lake's microscopic organisms and transmit them in real time. Our high-performance computing platform at Rensselaer, as well as IBM and Rensselaer innovations in data modeling, analytics, visualization, and web science, will allow us to use this data to understand and to preserve the water quality of Lake George, and will serve as a model for data-driven ecological stewardship in the future. But it won't just be about Lake George, because it is a learning platform that we can then translate to other aspects of our natural environment. Now, the implications of such data-driven research are particularly important in healthcare. This year, we established a new partnership with the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai. Many people simply refer to it as the Mount Sinai Medical School, that will offer Rensselaer a treasure trove of clinical data and the ability to translate biotechnology research breakthroughs into clinical practice. Now, the partnership is going to bring together as well the supercomputers at each institute and allow us to produce sophisticated computer algorithms to analyze genomic data from many, many patients. We will be able to use that data to develop predictive models of disease, to devise safer and more effective drugs, and to make better use of shared healthcare assets and financial resources. The collaboration with Mount Sinai also reinforces our second critical research umbrella: infrastructural resilience, sustainability, and stewardship. And under this umbrella, we are focusing in one area, but it's not the only one, on affordable healthcare technologies that will benefit people globally. These include regenerative medicine and tissue engineering, as well as the first virtual platform for non-invasive surgeries, developed by Professor Suvranu Dey and an interdisciplinary team at our Center for Modeling, Simulation, and Imaging in Medicine. This virtual surgery application can train surgeons as well as allow for computer-aided design for new surgeries. Because it can run directly on web browsers, including over mobile phones, which now are globally ubiquitous, it has the potential to improve healthcare even in the poorest and most remote places. Now, our infrastructural resilience, sustainability, and stewardship umbrella also encompasses research concerning smart logistics and smart infrastructure. Rensselaer engineers and scientists are focusing on predicting and controlling the risks of extreme weather and other natural disasters that affect our critical infrastructure. They also are considering how best to engineer systems, including cyber systems, supply chains, transport systems, the electric grid, and urban built environments to withstand natural disruptions, as well as man-made security threats, to respond to weather intelligently, and to make efficient use of energy from a wide range of energy sources. Under the same umbrella, we also are focusing on transformative materials. Composites of atomic scale layers are expanding vastly the materials palette at our disposal. And materials informatics and what is referred to as materials genomics are actually allowing the rational design of new materials, including biological systems for creating specific properties. Nanotechnology is yielding new solutions for energy storage, such as fast-charging, long-lasting graphene-based lithium-ion batteries. Bio-nanocomposites that combine lytic enzymes or enzymes that rupture cell walls with nanomaterials have enabled a group led by Vice President for Research, Jonathan Dordick, who is the Howard P. Iserman Professor of Chemical and Biological Engineering, to devise a new strategy for killing deadly bacteria such as MRSA and Listeria, using long-lasting antimicrobial paints and coatings, bypassing the problem of antibiotic resistance that accompanies their use. It is safe to say that many stubborn problems are yielding to discoveries and innovations emerging from the interdisciplinary research here at Rensselaer. But of course, it takes the right talent to be transformative in these areas. And this year, we have made 29 new tenured and tenure-track faculty hires, including Dr. Catherine Royer, who will be and is the Constellation Chair in Biocomputation and Bioinformatics in the Department of Biology, and Dr. Richard Gross, the Constellation Chair in Biocatalysis and Metabolic Engineering in the Department of Chemistry and Chemical Biology. In addition, Dr. Deepak Vashith was named Director of the Center for Biotechnology and Interdisciplinary Studies. Dr. Joe Chow was named Administrative Dean of the School of Engineering. And to help us realize our ambitions fully, we have strengthened our backbone administration, and we have recruited Ivar Strand as Assistant Vice President for Research Administration and Finance, and even in my office, Ms. Alicia Muzerski as the new Chief of Staff. Now, to ensure that the breakthroughs arising out of our research make their way in the world, we are strengthening the innovation ecosystem that we have established here. And under our new Rensselaer Plan 2024, we're expanding the successor to our incubator, one that we started back in the early 80s. And we call it the Emerging Ventures Ecosystem, or EVE, to help Rensselaer students and faculty to exploit the intellectual property they generate, to link them to investors, and to broker, as needed, incubation space for them in Troy and throughout the capital region so that they can launch new enterprises. In fact, in December, EVE is hosting its first Business Opportunities to Success Summit, which of course sports the delightful acronym BOSS. Now, the summit will bring together entrepreneurs, CEOs, and other business leaders, many of them Rensselaer alumni and alumnae, as well as academic leaders, to provide their insights on transforming a concept or innovation or invention into a thriving business. Now, adding to our innovation ecosystem is a planned joint Mount Sinai and Rensselaer Collaborative Center for Research, Innovation, and Entrepreneurship to be based both in New York City and Troy, New York. The center will assist faculty and students from both institutions in converting medical breakthroughs of all kinds into startup companies. Now, under the new plan as well, we're intensifying our global impact, not merely with our research, but by changing the way we teach our cyber-savvy young people, our students. In fact, pedagogical innovation, as I've said, characterized Rensselaer from its very start in 1824. Now, as you may know, the traditions of that time, maybe this even looks familiar to some of us, the traditions of that time had students listening passively to lectures, or what some have referred to as the nail 'em to the street, to the chair model. But you know, Rensselaer even then broke with that pattern and instead asked students as well to prove and expand their knowledge through demonstrations and experiments. And under the Rensselaer Plan 2024, we continue this tradition by giving all undergraduate students the opportunity for research and independent study. In fact, we are creating an honors program for seniors who demonstrate particular promise in research. And by research, we mean research across the broad front. It could be an engineering design project. It can be basic research in science. It can be a business case, and so on. Rensselaer also, and you may not know this, pioneered the flipped classroom, in which students first learned basic subject matter outside of class and then come to class for problem solving and experimentation long before the online educator, Saul Kahn, through the Khan Academy, which we respect, began advocating for the same switch. Now we will be using online courses to enhance the Rensselaer experience. Let me give you one example. We soon will be giving underrepresented minorities and other underserved students a virtual strengthening bridge to Rensselaer, in part by offering an online calculus course before they first arrive on campus. We intend to incorporate advances in computational science and engineering, such as the semantic web, into online learning, which will allow students to bring a wide range of web-based sources and resources into their work, and to learn how to use new approaches and tools to authenticate these sources, because as people have said, the internet does not come with a credibility filter. Now, our students are benefiting from other revolutions in teaching as well, including the gamification of courses, the mixed reality classroom, and interaction with artificially intelligent synthetic characters. All three of these elements are coming together in a program called the Mandarin Project, which uses a sustained narrative to engage and motivate students to learn the Mandarin language and Chinese culture. The Mandarin Project is moving into our new Emergent Reality Lab, a massive mixed reality space, and it ultimately will include synthetic characters arising out of Rensselaer breakthroughs in artificial intelligence and cognitive modeling, characters that will interact directly with students in the course. So students become part of the game, part of the story. The synthetic characters are part of the story. And they all interact to teach a new language and a new culture. Now, this new approach has ramifications beyond language learning and cultural study for our students, and will be an area for active pedagogical research across all of our schools for new approaches to teaching and learning. We also are working toward blended, that is, online and classroom-based formats for certain professional degree programs for working professionals and others. And this would include a new approach at our Hartford campus, Rensselaer at Hartford. The third area in which we will continue to be a transformative force is directly in the lives of our students, in their personal growth and development. Now, as this audience proves, a Rensselaer education is transformative. However, that education does not take place merely in the classroom, but also in the interactions that our students have with each other. Could be in fraternities or athletics, could be in other things, in community services. In interactions with our faculty and administrators, and of course with the community around them. And so our clustered learning advocacy and support for students, or CLASS, is designed to foster these connections for all students in ever-widening circles. CLASS begins with our award-winning first-year experience, which eases freshmen into the demands and joys of college life. Since we understand the significance of a home away from home, CLASS encourages a sense of belonging through small, residential communities supported by residential live-in deans, including a dean as well for off-campus students, because we want to reach students wherever they live, a dean for students in our Greek system, and for graduate students. Class also helps an entire class to cohere as a group through time-based clustering, with class deans who work with our students from their sophomore year through their first senior year, once they've gone through the first-year experience. Now, the many programs that emerge from class recognize the different stages of college life while preparing our students to change the world. For example, programming through our Center for Career and Professional Development is specific to each year. Our award-winning sophomore career experience is designed as an introduction to professional life that can help students make strategic choices in their studies as upperclassmen. Earlier this month, over 200 sophomores participated in our kickoff Career Prep 101 event with industry partners that included ExxonMobil, Johnson & Johnson, FactSet, GE, Hasbro, and the U.S. Navy nuclear program, among others. Now, we do this because we are preparing our students, obviously not just for a job, but for their careers and for life. But their first position is so very important, and we want our students to be as prepared for that and to understand the linkage to their overall life plans and careers as they go along. Class also includes a faculty dean to provide academically linked programs to bridge the classroom and the student's living environment. And programs under development include the School of Humanities, Arts, and Social Sciences. It's so-called inquiry courses that introduce the humanities in vibrant ways within our students' residences. And to encourage an even greater sense of affinity, we are allowing students to build their own living and learning cohorts based on the class core themes. Now, they obviously make a choice when they go into the Greek system, but we are allowing other cohorts to form, but they all have certain themes that they build their life experiences around. Themes such as professional development or community or particular global challenges such as environmental stewardship. For example, our leadership houses allow students to participate in a truly exciting ongoing discourse about governance, about management, courage, and inspiration. This year, we will inaugurate the Blitman Leadership Forum, which will bring civic leaders to the Blitman Commons from across the region to discuss political life and ultimately from across the nation. In addition, our Archer Center for Student Leadership Development currently is developing an idea we call the Why Not Change the World Challenge Studio to allow our students, faculty, and other investigators to collaborate on projects designed to answer ill-posed but challenging and pressing global problems. So we are expanding our students' sense of connection outwards, in part by encouraging all Rensselaer juniors to seek out a transformative experience, such as study abroad or unique internships or a co-op position that integrates classroom work with professional activities. Ultimately, class is designed to develop those personal qualities most likely to lead to wonderful careers and full lives: intellectual agility, multicultural sophistication, and a global outlook. Now, as you know, athletics is an important part of student life as well, and student development, and draws truly extraordinary young people to Rensselaer. And I'm proud to say that we had much to be proud of this year in athletics. The women's lacrosse team had an inspiring season under the leadership of head coach Leslie Delano, capturing the Liberty League title. advancing to the quarterfinals of the NCAA tournament and ranking a record 9th in the final Intercollegiate Women's Lacrosse Coaches Association poll. The baseball team played in the NCAA tournament for the 17th time in school history at the New York Regional Tournament. In fact, the team won the Liberty League tournament and reached the 30-win plateau for just the 7th time in school history. Individual athletes also are standouts. Adam Updegrove, who played 4 years of soccer and dove as well for 3 years, was chosen as the inaugural Liberty League Male Scholar Athlete of the Year. And our quarterback, Mike Herman, one of the best football players in the history of Rensselaer football, a 127-year history, is pursuing a spot on an NFL team's roster. And given his perseverance, we're optimistic that he will get there. But we also are optimistic for the future of the Engineers, as Rensselaer football welcomed Ralph Isernia as its new head coach and Richard Maloney as its assistant coach. And of course, I have to tell you that last season, the men's ice hockey team finished second in the Eastern Collegiate Athletic Conference, the ECAC, while earning a 3.4 GPA. Not too shabby. And the media has projected the men's ice hockey team #1 for this upcoming season. And the coaches have projected it #2. A lot of weight on their shoulders, because of course we expect them to maintain the 3.4 GPA. But clearly, it is not merely talent that is revealed in athletic competition, but also intelligence, ambition, and character. We're very proud of the degree to which Rensselaer athletes demonstrate all of these qualities. In fact, last spring, was the 24th straight semester that our student athletes had a higher term GPA than non-student athletes. On the character front, RPI athletics and representatives of all 23 varsity teams have joined the You Can Play project, a campaign to ensure that student athletes are judged solely on ability and effort and not on the basis of sexual orientation or other factors. If you have not seen the video produced by the athletic department on this subject, I urge you to take a look on YouTube or the You Can Play website. So as we consider the state of the Institute, it really is impossible not to feel tremendous pride in the people who make up the Rensselaer family. Faculty, administrators, students, and alumni and alumnae alike. Together and collectively, all of these members of the family have set a standard of excellence that allows Rensselaer to continue reaching upward, to take a more prominent place on the world stage, and to do the things we do best, including developing brilliant young people to help humanity at large. Though we are approaching our bicentennial, for Rensselaer, the best is yet to come. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, this is a test. If you can't figure out what that means, we'll take back your degrees. Now we're going to move into our Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame induction ceremony. So I would ask you to remain seated, and we will now begin that part of the program. Jeff.
Dr. Jackson, members of the Institute Board of Trustees, members of the Alumni Board of Trustees, honorands, alumni, and friends, I'd like to welcome you this afternoon to the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame induction ceremony. My name is Jeff Shantz. I'm the Assistant Vice President for Alumni Relations and the Executive Director of the Rensselaer Alumni Association. In 1995, the RAA, with the full endorsement of the Institute Board of Trustees, created the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame to preserve and celebrate the exceptional heritage of alumni accomplishments throughout the years. The stories of these innovators, pioneers, and entrepreneurs provide a powerful source of inspiration for all who follow in their paths and who, like them, will continue to shape our world. 4 individuals have been selected this year for induction into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame, bringing the total membership to just 72. The 2013 class of inductees, a housing reform pioneer, the co-founder of the U.S. Navy Seabees, a power electronics innovator, and an esteemed dean of humanities and social sciences, carries on the tradition of Rensselaer's distinguished legacy. At this time, I would like to recognize the members of the selection committee and publicly thank them for their hard work. I am confident that when we introduce the newest Hall of Fame members, you will agree this committee was successful in selecting the best of the best. Would the members of the selection committee please stand and be recognized? Perhaps equally challenging are those who serve on our balloting committee. Would the members of the balloting committee please stand and be recognized? Thank you. And now it's my distinct pleasure to introduce the chairman of the Institute of Board of Trustees and member of the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame Selection Committee, the Honorable Judge Arthur J. Gallarza, member of the class of 1962.
Good afternoon. You heard a fantastic presentation by the president of this university. And I'm very pleased to join everyone here to induct the newest members of the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame, whose inspiring examples remind us how fortunate we are to have a Rensselaer education. I'm a proud member of the class of 1962, a few years ago. I enrolled in the 50-year club last year. And as Jeff mentioned, I've been a member of the Board of Trustees since 1994 and chairman of the board for the past 3 years. It's been my privilege and honor to do so. A good part of that association with Rensselaer over the past 14 years has been to watch it develop into one of the finest institutions in this country. The president of Rensselaer had a vision when we first elected her as a president in 1999. She established the Rensselaer Plan. And now that plan has evolved in the Rensselaer Plan of 2024. And we will reach new heights of excellence. She has challenged the entire community to have an impact globally. I expect her to challenge us further by asking all of us to have an impact on the universe. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct pleasure and honor to present to you the president of Rensselaer, Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson.
Thank you, Chairman Gallarza. Here I am again. The Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame is a relatively recent innovation at Rensselaer, as you've heard. However, it is a very important development. As we approach the 200th anniversary of our founding, we want to ensure that our history resides not merely in the books and in library archives, but also in the consciousness and aspirations of the entire Rensselaer family. Rensselaer alumni and alumnae have reshaped our world, adding to its beauty and wonder with the Ferris wheel, an example of which we have brought to campus this weekend, with the Brooklyn Bridge, which remains suspended between Brooklyn and Manhattan, with Boston's Fenway Park and other storied baseball stadiums, and with Prospect Park right here in Troy, with the digital camera, the sequencing of the first complete genomes, and the design of many elegant aircraft. We intend to prepare the next generation of discoverers, innovators, business leaders, entrepreneurs in all technological and scientific and related fields, ranging from computer science to biomedical engineering to advanced materials, data analytics to digital arts, new ways of doing business and designing our built environment. However, that requires inspiration as well as education. The members of our Alumni Hall of Fame prove that motto. And our motto, "Why not change the world?" is not merely rhetorical. A Rensselaer education does make it possible to change the world. The stories of our remarkable alumni and alumnae give our students motivation to reach toward ever greater heights themselves. And we are very pleased to have several current members of our Alumni Hall of Fame with us today, as well as family members representing others. And so I would like to ask that as I introduce you, if you are in the audience, to please stand and be recognized. I would like to begin with Trustee Emeritus and Alumni Hall of Fame, Howard P. Iserman of the Rensselaer class of 1942. I'm not done yet, Howard. Howard embodies the absolute best of Rensselaer. A chemical engineer, he developed the ultraviolet absorber that became the most effective sunscreen in the world, saving countless lives in the process. Howard is an entrepreneur who has used his success to allow many young people to receive the Rensselaer education that benefited him. He has supported both professorships and fellowships that have assisted hundreds of chemical engineering students in their first year of graduate school. His generosity has helped to propel Rensselaer's chemical and biological engineering department into the world's top ranks. Thank you, Howard. I also want to recognize Dr. Nancy Deloy Fitzroy, Nancy, of the Rensselaer class of 1949. Dr. Fitzroy is an internationally recognized and honored expert in the field of heat transfer and fluid flow, and is the first woman to have led the American Society of Mechanical Engineers. And she and her husband have always been great supporters of the Institute. Thank you, Nancy. Dr. Ivar Gaver of the Rensselaer class of 1964. One of 3 scientists awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1973, Dr. Guyver conducted investigations that led to an understanding of electronic tunneling, a foundation for the study of superconductivity. Thank you for joining us. And I believe and hope we have with us Ms. Margaret Mason Bruce. Who is the great-great-granddaughter of William Pitt Mason of the class of 1874. A pioneer in sanitation chemistry, Mr. Mason was a major contributor to the world's understanding of the need for pure municipal water supplies. Thank you for joining us today. Ms. Janie Gibson Daggs. Is the first cousin, thrice removed, of Garnett Douglas Baltimore of the Rensselaer class of 1881. He was a distinguished civil engineer and landscape designer, and he designed Prospect Park, one of the greatest assets of the city of Troy. Mr. Baltimore was the first African American to earn a bachelor's degree from Rensselaer. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, we thank all of you for providing the best possible argument for Rensselaer education. And before we induct our 4 newest members, we have a video for you to see about the Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to continue the afternoon with the induction ceremony. Today, we celebrate the achievements of all inductees into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame, some of the brightest minds who have ever attended Rensselaer. Their achievements in science, education, architecture, engineering, and technology have truly changed the world. Dr. Jackson, Judge Gallarza, the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame Selection Committee is pleased to present to you the 2013 inductees into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame. Each inductee will receive a glass replica of the windows that line Thompson Hall in the David M. Darren Communications Center. Dr. Jackson, Chairman Gallarza. We are pleased to begin the induction ceremony with Alfred Treadway White, class of 1865. I would ask Miss Sylvia Van Sinderen, great-granddaughter of Alfred Treadway White, to join Dr. Jackson and Judge Gallarza at center stage. Alfred Treadway White was leading American housing reformer and philanthropist in the 19th century. An engineer by training and a businessman by practice, he became deeply concerned with the living conditions of the working poor through his work with Brooklyn's First Unitarian Church. In 1877, he constructed the first model tenements in America, which set new standards for tenement housing in their attention to architectural beauty, open space, sunlight, ventilation, and fire safety. He advocated for a, quote, philanthropy plus 5%, end quote, business model, which turned a modest profit, and persuaded other landlords to enter the market for low-income housing. His financial success and public advocacy of his cause influenced passage of the New York tenement reform legislation. White founded charities dedicated to children's aid and medical care, greatly reducing infant mortality, and created the Brooklyn Botanic Garden, which provided green space for the neighborhood's poor. At his death, White was eulogized as, quote, the great heart and mastermind of Brooklyn's better self, end quote. We are pleased to induct Alfred Treadway White into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame.
Thank you, and good afternoon. It is not possible to describe how much it means to have RPI honor my great-grandfather's contributions to the world. I am privileged and humbled to represent him and our family today. I'd like to take a moment to introduce two other family members who are here. My son, Adam Abate, and my cousin's son, Alexander Henry. Like many of their cousins, Adam and Alexander carry on their great-great-grandfather's tradition of climbing the high peaks of the Adirondack Mountains. Alfred Treadway White has been a constant presence in my life. Our paths missed crossing by 30 years, but I feel that I knew this strong yet gentle man through his poetry and letters, through treasured family pictures and stories, and through shared dreams of a better world. I also spent some years in Troy at Emma Willard School, where I would sometimes imagine my great-grandfather studying nearby. Alfred attended RPI during the Civil War to study civil engineering. His alma mater gave him essential tools to help improve the quality of life for many. He never sought recognition. He found his reward through the effort and the results. He would be the first to appreciate and applaud the contributions of the distinguished alumni who were members of the Hall of Fame. He would not expect to be joining them. But if Alfred knew that he was being remembered by RPI, and if he felt that accepting this honor was helping, in whatever small way, to reinforce the foundations of this exceptional institution, then I know he would be pleased. Thank you.
Our next inductee is Louis Coombs, class of 1916. I would ask Mr. Randall Dillman, grandnephew of Rear Admiral Coombs, to join Dr. Jackson and Judge Gallarza on the stage. Louis B. Coombs was co-creator and director of World War II's legendary Fighting Seabees, who rapidly built docks, landing strips, and other critical facilities in every theater of operation during the war. A distinguished naval officer for 31 years as a leader in the Navy's Civil Engineer Corps, Rear Admiral Coombs oversaw an unprecedented construction program to provide the public works and utilities for Navy operations in the United States and for a far-flung network of bases overseas. In 1942, this work included organization of the Naval Construction Battalions, the CBs, an entirely new branch of the Naval Service that expanded to 250,000 by war's end. He played a major role in the development of floating dry docks, which enabled the quick return to battle of impaired ships and saved many American lives. Upon his retirement from active duty in 1947, Coombs joined the faculty at Rensselaer, where he served as head of Civil Engineering Department for 15 years. We are pleased to induct Louis B. Coombs into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame.
I suffer from something called glossophobia. I don't know whether you all know what that is, but I'll try to get through this without stammering too much. I would like to thank Gene Jenkins for nominating Rear Admiral Louis Barton Coombs into the RPI Hall of Fame. I'm sorry, I'm a little emotional. I'm sure my great uncle would be honored by being considered for this prestigious award for serving his country and then returning to his alma mater to head the Civil Engineering Department for 15 years, from 1947 to 1962. He was most proud of being an integral part, along with Rear Admiral Ben Morrell, of founding the Naval Construction Battalion, better known as the Seabees, in January of 1942. The Seabees' motto, which I'm not sure how it exactly came about, was called "We build and we fight." Unofficially, its term was also "can do." But there also was a Latin interpretation of that, "construimus batuimus," which meant construct and build. He served 31 years in the Navy after after returned to RPI, after he graduated from RPI in 1916. He was born in Manchester, Vermont in 1985, and at the age of 10, having had an interest in golf, he caddied for a name you might recall, Robert Todd Lincoln, who was the son of Abraham Lincoln. His family relocated recently after that to Rensselaer. He and his wife, Laura B. Warden, shared 70-plus years together. Outside of his academic duties, that he enjoyed watching and, most of all, playing golf, tending to his garden, and vigorously and outlandishly at times, supporting the RPI hockey team. He loved to yell at the refs, because I used to come up for the tournaments that they had in the 50s when Ned Harkness was here as the RPI coach. He also enjoyed fly fishing, which he used to take me out once in a while and try and teach me how to fly fish, which is not the easiest thing in the world to do if you've ever attempted it. He passed away in Red Oak, New York in May of 1996 at the age of 101. Once again, I would like to thank Gene Jenkins for initiating and supporting the inclusion of my great-uncle into the Rear Admiral Lewis, middle name Barton, I don't know where that came from, Barton Combs, into the RPI Hall of Fame. Happy that my uncle's great contributions to his country as well as his alma mater were recognized. One of his favorite sayings, and had it embroidered up on the wall in his office, was, "Count your age by friends, count your life by smiles, not tears." And little did he know, probably at the time, that this was originated by John Lennon.
Our next inductee is Thomas W. Phelan, Jr. I would like to ask his goddaughter and niece, Miss Eileen Howe Bird, Rensselaer class of 2000, to join Dr. Jackson and Judge Gallarza on the stage. The Reverend Thomas Phelan devoted more than 4 decades of his life to Rensselaer as chaplain, professor, dean, and historian. As dean of the School of Humanities and Social Sciences from 1972 to 1994, he transformed a traditional liberal arts curriculum into a cross-disciplinary program focused on bridging the humanities and social sciences with science and technology. He created the Department of Arts, a forerunner in electronic arts education, and the Department of Science and Technology Studies, one of the first in the country. Phelan's legacy to Rensselaer includes building the award-winning Chapel and Cultural Center. He was a historian and scholar who wrote and taught American material culture as it reflected in the nation's industrial age, and was a champion of preservation efforts. An advocate for the arts, he served as president of the Catholic Art Association and was named a Fellow of the Society for Arts, Religion, and Contemporary Culture in 1972. To generations of students and colleagues, he left an indelible legacy as counselor, teacher, advocate, and visionary. We are pleased to induct Thomas Phelan into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame.
Hi, everyone. It's with great pleasure that I join you here today in celebration of Tom Phelan's induction into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame. Well, you've heard some wonderful things about Tom. On a professional basis, there is probably more to be written. But I'm here to tell you today that, to me, he was Uncle Tom. And I guess I'm a little emotional myself. As a child, and I knew him through a great deal of my life, I felt him as a presence, and he was a very big part of our family and a big part of my life. As I grew into adulthood, I was delighted to find that at times that I needed counseling, and I'll tell you there were more than a few, that he was there for me. And it was a great privilege to call him my uncle and a family member. A few things about Tom. Tom was a man who made every day of his life count. He had such a yearning and calling to connect with people. It really is one of the hallmarks of his everyday existence. He had many, 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 many personal friends, and people who relied on him not just as a counselor and advisor, but as just a confidant, if nothing else. He spent a considerable amount of energy bridging connections and bringing people together. It really was a hallmark of his and his ability to connect individuals and groups and really bring out the very best in all of those interactions. He was very well known for hosting Sunday dinner, which he did every single Sunday. In addition to getting a spectacular meal, and I can say that firsthand, he brought conversation together and he brought people together at those meals, and they were very special. Additionally, he also held New Year's Eve parties for quite a number of years, and those were quite well known in the Troy parts. Just a rumor. He had a capacity to love and to appreciate people. He had a presence that's larger than life, and perhaps you can tell that even after we've lost him for a number of years, I still miss him, and I feel his presence, and his presence is with us today. He left an indelible impression on the Rensselaer campus. He was just a big presence here, and his spirit, I think, continues to live on. And one thing, as I was sitting here today, I would just generally comment was that he would love this building. He would just revel at an opportunity to attend a concert here or to be here for any particular event, and there's been a number of them in the years since the building's been opened. He is most deserving to be counted among the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame, and on behalf of his family, and many members of his family are with me here today, we're very grateful to celebrate his induction into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame. Thank you very much.
Please welcome Dr. B. Janet Balaga, Rensselaer class of 1974. Dr. Balaga, would you please join Dr. Jackson and Judge Gairos on stage? B. Janet Balaga is an internationally recognized expert on power semiconductor devices, best known for his innovation of the insulated gate bipolar transistor, or IGBT, a power-saving switch device that has revolutionized the field of power electronics. With high efficiency and fast switching, the energy-saving device controls the flow of power from an electrical energy source to any application that needs energy and is widely used in transportation, lighting, medicine, defense, and renewable energy generation systems. The IGBT, which Balaga developed while working at General Electric in the 1970s, is used in an array of products from cars and refrigerators to light bulbs and its critical component, enabling compact cardiac defibrillators. The device has saved consumers trillions of dollars, reduced environmental pollution, and helps form the basis for the smart grid. Among his many honors, Balaga was named one of 8 heroes of the semiconductor revolution by Scientific American magazine in 1997. He received the National Medal of Technology and Innovation from President Obama in 2010. We are pleased to induct B. Janet Balaga into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame.
I'm delighted to be inducted today into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame. I couldn't help noticing that I'm the only inductee not being honored posthumously. So I want to give a special thanks to the committee for giving me the pleasure of receiving this honor in person. So I'm also grateful to my wife, Pratima, who has supported me throughout my career, and I'm very grateful that she's here to enjoy the honor with me. So let me begin Let me begin by stating that I owe a big debt of gratitude to Professor Saurabh Gandhi, who sponsored me as a graduate student and guided me through my master's and PhD degrees at RPI. In my graduate school application form, I wrote that I wanted to come to RPI because my goal in life was to create a technology that would be beneficial to mankind. Now, this could have been considered the foolish ambition of a naive young man of 21. The fact that this dream has actually come true is in no small measure due to the education and inspiration that I received here at RPI. Now, I did not realize until my arrival in Troy that I was one of the first students from India who was admitted into the electrophysics department. In fact, I barely got in because the first choice of Professor Gandhi's was a student from China who couldn't make it for some reason. Moreover, many faculty had reservations about my admission because they felt that a student from an Indian university may not be able to survive our rigorous curriculum. However, I dispelled their concerns by maintaining a perfect 4.0 grade point average, and I graduated from RPI with my PhD in 1974 with the Alan B. Dumont Prize. Alan B. Dumont, of course, being a previous inductee. So many years after leaving RPI, one of the professors mentioned to me that I was referred by the faculty at RPI as the golden boy from India. Now, had I known this while I was at RPI, I would have negotiated a bigger stipend for my research appointment. Now, after leaving RPI, I joined GE, Corporate Research and Development, in neighboring Schenectady, which allowed me to maintain my ties with RPI as an adjunct professor. GE CRD was led at that time by Roland Schmidt, who went on to become president of RPI and an inductee also into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame in 1999. Furthermore, one of my colleagues at GE, with whom I shared the distinction of being named a Coolidge Fellow, was Ivor Gaver, an inductee into the Hall of Fame in 1998. Now, it was at GE that I invented, developed, and commercialized the IGBT, which is now used by all of you in your everyday lives. It is an embedded technology that is hidden from the eyes of society, so many people don't even recognize its existence. But it powers the ignition system of your cars, runs the motors in your air conditioners, washing machines, and refrigerators. It operates all the robots in factories, drives the motors in electric cars and high-speed locomotives, and enables compact fluorescent lamps. And of course, the defibrillator that was mentioned a few minutes ago. So during the last 20 years, the improved efficiency with using the IGBT has saved consumers 50,000 terawatt hours of electricity. That's as much electricity as produced by 600 coal-fired plants. And it has reduced gasoline consumption by 1 trillion gallons. And this has translated to a cost savings of over $15 trillion and a reduction of carbon dioxide emissions of 78 trillion pounds. Not bad a contribution for a student who almost didn't get into RPI, eh? So I want to conclude my remarks by expressing my gratitude to RPI for providing the educational foundation that made my career possible. And I deeply cherish this recognition today by my alma mater. Thank you.
Let me congratulate again our distinguished inductees and their families. Please join me. Before we end, I would like to remember a few other people important to the Institute's history, people we lost this year. First, George S. Ansell, class of 1954, and his wife, Marjorie Ansell. George Ansell was dean of the School of Engineering from 1974 to 1984, And during his tenure, both engineering enrollment and research funding flourished. Mrs. Ansell also was a member of the Rensselaer family who worked in the development office of Institute Advancement. Paul M. DeRusso, class of 1953, was Professor Emeritus of Electrical, Computer, and Systems Engineering and an Associate Dean of Engineering, who established degree programs in Computer and Systems Engineering and the Preface Summer Program. J. Lawrence Katz was Professor and Department Head of Biomedical Engineering. Robert M. Ryan, class of 57, was Professor Emeritus of Nuclear Engineering and Director of Radiation and Nuclear Safety at Rensselaer. Robert L. Spilker, a wonderful man, was Professor Emeritus of Biomedical Engineering. Carl A. Westerdahl was our Dean of Students and Director of Alumni and Community Relations. He was a great historian of Rensselaer who helped reveal our own history to us. We are grateful for all that these individuals gave us, and we will miss them very much. Our thoughts as well go out to all of our Rensselaer alumni and alumnae serving in the military, especially those serving overseas. And we give our best wishes to Rensselaer alumni Rick Mastraccio and Reed Wiseman, who will fly separate missions to NASA's International Space Station. I guess it's not NASA's alone. And I want to thank all of our alumni and alumnae, all of you, for remaining such an important part of the Rensselaer family, for offering us valuable guidance and support, and for allowing me the opportunity to sum up for you the state of this magnificent institute, this very special place. Please enjoy the weekend, and I invite all of you to a reception just outside in Evelyn's Cafe. Good afternoon.